we're here. We have finally arrived. 3 Fields is going to make Dangerous Driving 2, which appears to basically be Burnout Paradise. It's the thing they have been building up to this whole time.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it. I just don't know how to feel about it. Like, that sounds so amazing on paper.
Yeah.
I don't.
They haven't proved
few
themselves.
games, yeah,
They really
have sounded great.
haven't.
Yeah.
As 3 Fields. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every one of their projects has been promising, but
Yeah.
just feels
Not
like
like
it wasn't quite
failures.
all the way there.
No, like most of that stuff has been like at least okay.
Yeah.
Like the golf game was weird,
Yeah.
and at least the physics stuff was really neat, but it wasn't that fun to play. They did that VR shooting game that was no good. They did the crash mode games that were just too, and I think it's just maybe the issue with everything overall is too much of it is just too bare bones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even down to like, I'm not a really big guy that like will be put off by a UI in games, but like they had just the most default ass like load up Unity and do a tutorial and here is your UI. I don't want to be mean, but you know, and it's probably a result of them being a smaller new studio.
Well, in
but
some
like,
cases, a lot of that UI stuff, like if you look at Dangerous Driving, like they're trying to make the Burnout 3 UI.
yeah.
And I think that's admirable in a way, but like a lot of stuff has changed.
Like, what year
It's
did
like,
Burnout 3 come out?
Exactly. The best year in all the video games, whatever year that was.
1996?
Yeah, that's the one. No, it did not come out in 96. So it almost, it's this weird case of like they're trying to be very faithful to this thing. They're on a budget that doesn't afford them like the bells and whistles that some modern games get that help you kind of like paint over some of the rough spots. But like, oh, well, the soundtrack's killer. Or, hey, these graphics are really good. So
Well, the soundtrack's killing this because you just plug in your Spotify.
that
And there
means
you
the
go.
soundtrack is garbage. And yeah, you see, it's the corners they've cut. I think like you look at it from like some kind of business standpoint, and you can at least start to understand why they went there or why they did those things. Because some of it was in service of trying to make something that looked and felt like Burnout 3
Totally
did.
And that's admirable.
Yeah.
Like to be like, we are built, our studio is built with one specific goal, is to emulate this feeling
Yeah.
of this game. And it's like, well, you can do that, but you still have to make a video game.
And they are. It's the weird thing about Dangerous Driving, because I think Dangerous Driving is the one game where like more of it came together than anything they had done up to that point. But it was this feeling of like, oh, cool, you did it. And then it was this feeling of like, maybe this needs more than just replicating a lot of the broad strokes of this one thing, of this beloved older game.
Yeah.
And that was hard. Like for me, playing Dangerous Driving was like this hard hit to the stomach of like, fuck.
It's like going back to a restaurant you like, or like a restaurant you loved as a kid.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's like,
It was like,
oh,
they did it. Oh, but that's all they did. Oh shit, it's really fucked up to say that's all they did about you did it. You made a game like Burnout 3, one of the greatest games ever made.
right.
But that's how it ended up, man. And I think them launching with the multiplayer later ended up killing any chance that game ever had for multiplayer because
I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah,
It didn't
it's
launch
just
with multiplayer.
crazy. And the multiplayer in Burnout 3 and Burnout Revenge was great.
Yeah.
There has not been another game like Burnout Paradise since Need for Speed Most Wanted.
And in my
was it
mind,
Most Wanted? Yeah.
in my mind, that would be enough, but I don't know now. Like if that's all they did.
Yeah, well, okay, like there's things about the world of Burnout Paradise that are so expertly created. In terms of how it's laid out as an open world driving game and how they handle the turns and how they handle like so many things they just nail. Fun shortcuts, fun ways to get up on top of the train tracks and hit these billboards and like the puzzle game element of that stuff. The cooperative multiplayer is like this unsung thing that I think people forget about Burnout Paradise that like no one's really done. But also, I think if you did it and did it really well, it's still a hard sell today because it's so weird. It's like, hey, we made this driving game, but it's like, yeah, you can race each other, but that's really not... Like, the cool thing is, can you all do...
Donuts at the same time.
This many donuts at the same time,
Yeah.
and can you jump through this fucking big loop? You know, can you hit these? Can you do this many loops? Can you do this long of a drift as an 8-player crew?
Right.
And
Also, is it okay if we take a picture of your face every time you get traffic checked?
Right. And that's such a weird sell that I think even if they nail that, like conveying that to people in a wide sense, but whatever. I mean, they're still out there making games. Like you might have thought that after some of these games came out and how they were received or not received, that they would be done. But they sure seem to be able to make the next game.
Yeah.
But also, they're saying this is out this year, right?
Yes.
Sometimes it seems like they're able to make the next game, but sometimes it almost feels like they're like, we got to crank this out immediately. Yeah. This one didn't hit as well, so move on to the next thing. Yeah. And so maybe some of them are coming out too fast. Like would they do better with more time? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know enough about game development to answer that question.
Yeah. Or
how their game development exactly,
or finances or whatever.
But god damn it, it's great that they keep trying. And I want some of these people who worked on Burnout Paradise to make another one of those.
Yeah.
But how you actually like modernize that stuff, because you think, man, fuck, the stuff Burnout Paradise did in late 07, early 08, it was very early 08 that game came out. And you think about where games are today in terms of social experiences, live games and the updates that those get, and all that other stuff. If you really had the budget to take some of those ideas and blow them out, you could have seasons built around drifting. You could do all sorts of stuff. Like, hey, we just dropped in 200 more challenges.
You could have a battle pass with unique cars and stuff.
Season of the Drift.
Yeah. Yes. Season of the Drifter and Season of the Drift. Yeah. Just put the Drifter from Destiny in it and have him just talk about drifting.
Oh yeah, that would be a pretty good crossover.
But not even necessarily for like a monetization reason. I mean, obviously that's a way to build a modern game. But I mean, just in terms of like how games can be social today compared to how they were back then.
Yeah, because Burnout Paradise was kind of ahead of its time in that respect back then.
And if you could tap into more stuff like that and more community goals and more like larger things, and you could build something that had more of a chance to have that to be a little more sticky, to be a little more viral or something. It's like, hey, you could get to a point where you're working in something that almost resembles Nobi Boy. Where you're like, okay, we need this many million yards of
community
drift
goals and all that.
But that only works at scale.
We've built a machine that can only be powered by drift.
Yes.
That will cure cancer and end world hunger.
Exactly.
But you have to drift.
You have to drift.
Yeah. DJ Atomic is just on the radio. Not enough drifting.
So like that kind of gets into another like an overlapping issue I have with their previous games, which is they're just kind of lifeless.
Yeah.
And like Burnout Paradise to me is a game that was really stupid and knew it.
Yeah.
Like DJ Atomica is a fucking goober.
But
but it's
like
fun
and divisive
but
also.
But it's fun because it's it's dumb. They know it's dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the soundtrack was goofy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a certain personality or like pizzazz to Burnout Paradise.
The thing about Burnout Paradise is the soundtrack isn't actually goofy. It's just that it has that Avril Lavigne song on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of pop punk on there.
But at the time it came out, of course there would be a lot of pop punk.
It's very of an era.
Yeah, totally.
But I mean, the bigger point is just like their previous, all the Three Fields games have just been like they've had the shape of these games, but not the heart.
Yeah,
no, you're right. Lifeless is a really good word to describe it.
And that's something that I think gets to your point about the UI.
Yeah,
but also yes, the feel of those games. It's cold.
Yeah,
those games are all very cold.
And like that might be okay for like the kind of crash mode based like puzzle game thing that they did before, but like this is the one game where they can't get away with that anymore.
Yeah, it needs to feel like not even like feel like a real world or something. It needs to feel like there's
fun. It needs to feel fun.
Yes.
Like goofy.
Personality.
Yeah. It has to feel like a human touch. And that was the thing when you really spent as much time as I spent with Burnout Paradise, that whole world feels like very meticulous in terms of like a human touched this to do this specific thing. If you bang around this corner, you live. If you bang around this corner, no, this is where you need skill because otherwise there's this little lip here that's going to kill you every time. Because we want you to be better at the game out here. Like you start to pick up on that sort of stuff. You start to like know that open world.
It starts to feel like a city.
Yeah.
Like honestly, and not just a series of blocks that are placed to make sure that you have enough events.
Totally. It's like we need to get out to the wind farm. Okay, I know exactly how to get there.
Yeah.
Still.
Do you think they would keep that similar style of like here are the 8 or whatever end points? And
there's something like weirdly iconic about that like I think helps make the world feel lived in, but it led to a lot of the races feeling like very similar.
Like the last
third of every race is identical because you're just going out to the wind farm.
Once you hit that highway, and you know it's like
you're just going to the stadium. You're just going here. Like where those finish lines are, and so there's only so many ways to get there, and so a lot of the races start to feel similar. So I'd probably say no, I guess. But there certainly was value. Like, I could still tell you about some of those places and how to get there. So like that worked in a sense, but I don't think it necessarily made for a better video game.
Well, we'll find out soon. I wonder if those will come out for the new consoles or maybe they'll just be backwards compatible.
I don't know.
Who knows?